Hi, everyone. I'm so sorry about the links for today. They, I'm not sure why they weren't working. Oh, I do know why. Yeah, I don't know why they weren't working in the email message. So you just have to go to the class page on the web and download them from there. Let's see, who do we have today? Hi, Katia and Angela. And let's see, Robin, Lisa, Diane, okay. Hi, Bev. Hello to everyone. Been kind of a rushed last few minutes before class, trying to figure out what was wrong with the email or what wrong with the links. So, hi, Lingo Art. I'm probably pronouncing names wrong, but I hope you'll just bear with me. Diane and Lisa, you're both new to designing. Well, this is the place to be. It will be. I had thought I wasn't going to go back to the very beginning since I had done that in the last 6-week session in the spring, but I think we've got new people here, so I'll probably be doing a lot of reviewing for those who have been in my design classes before. Oh, it's 12:04 already. Hi, Joanne. I hope you all finally were able to get the downloads. I'm going to move my down camera. I don't think I'm going to be using it. And I guess I never opened up one of the documents myself that I'm going to need, and I want to put it on my screen. So let me grab that here a minute. You're going to see my, oh, I guess you won't see it yet. Okay. I forget that I'm still on while I'm doing this. I was probably frowning. And you probably just saw white for a bit. Sorry about that. Still getting used to these new screens. Yeah, thanks for mentioning that, Angela. If you go back and watch the ones from last spring, you'll it'll be new to you, and then now here we'll be going over a lot of it again, but you'll get a lot from that too. Although I wasn't as good as at using the video as I'm getting now. Each time that you open a new sheet to work, I have to change the settings from mm to inches. Is there a way to set the default? Um, what program are you talking about? Opening them up when you open the links up? Or are you talking about in a Word document? I'm not sure. In a lot of programs, you need to set them in the default. Your preferences, you can open up the program preferences. Usually it's under File Preferences or Edit Preferences in a program. Oh, Inkscape. Yeah, we're not going to be using that this morning, not until tonight. But I think in Inkscape, let me think. I sometimes have to think because I use Adobe Illustrator a lot, and they're so similar and yet so different. Illustrator is much, much more powerful, has a lot more to offer, but unless you're a professional artist, you don't need that. So Inkscape, I can't remember if I had to go into the preferences or if I was able to, sometimes you can click on the rulers if you have them showing. To get the ruler showing, I think in Inkscape you have to go to View and go down to, sometimes it'll say add-ons, sometimes it'll say guides and grids, but that's when, yeah. Yeah, so we'll discuss it for sure tonight. I'll be sure, and I'm going to write the question down right now so I'll be sure and answer it tonight. And the thing is, some of these things too, I'm not used to the new menu setup, the newest version, which we're using. And so like last night, what was it I wanted to do? Oh, I wanted to find out how to change the opacity on a layer. And I had to go online, and there's not enough update about the new version. And I could not find that button for, oh, it took me about 20 minutes to figure it out. So welcome to the afternoon design class. For those of you who haven't been here, I'm Sue Fuller. I know a couple of you are new to design, and to be honest, I'm right now still getting used to who's in the class and who wasn't here last week. So what we're going to do today is look at a Bucilla pattern, and we're going to use this to practice writing patterns. And in the evening class tonight, well, my evening, I should say the second session, we're going to actually be starting to diagram this pattern. It's a vintage pattern. If you open up your download, the one that says at the end, it says instructions. I think it was the first one in the list. Bucilla number 3, that's the pattern book number 3. It's actually called the Bucilla Blue Book number 3. It's pattern number 315 and the pattern instructions. And this document, I'm going to put it up right now. Now let me get this in place. Can you all see this online now if you don't have yours? Are you seeing my PDF open? No, Priya, the links are not working in the email. I thought another email was going to go out, but this is a crazy thing. I have to find out from Pam and Tammy. It said we'd reached our email limit for the day. So you do need to go to the website to download them. Great. Thank Kaylin. Hi, Janella. Okay, so this is the pattern, and eventually, I'm not quite sure when it'll be. Well, our goal is to rewrite all the patterns in this Bucilla book. That hasn't been done before in a class. And as you can see, I'm going to zoom in and so you can see mine a little better. One of the things I have done is, I don't know if you've noticed when you open some of the old vintage books, the text can be very hard to read because it's kind of a faded black. So I have gone and I took them into Photoshop. I put the link above. What is it? www, or no, it's http. Hold on, let me copy it again. I have it open here somewhere. Okay. I'm gonna go back. There it is right there on the screen. And I'll copy it. And put it There, that's the link to the page where you can click on the download. Oh, that's the website. Let me give you, you can go to the design page from there. Here, if I think you should be able to see this. And here's the home page. I'm going to go to classes and go down to tatting design. And there we go. At the end, it's got tatting dash design rather than just the home page. So is that working for you? Oh, great. Great. Glad you got it. Get that out of the way. Okay, so here's the pattern, and it is written in that old-fashioned style that's all run together paragraphs and no separation, and the sentences are long, you know, um, instead of being abbreviated. And the modern abbreviations, and I did not put a page up that we're going to be using. It actually it's in the downloads for the beginning class, and it's a this and tat um, PDF that is from the This and Tat website, which is no longer up. It can be found if you're good at finding things in the Wayback Machine. Um, and we're going to be using that because it shows how to read these patterns and diagram along with them and shorten them to other forms, and it shows all the forms of writing patterns out. And so we're going to be doing this as a practice for writing out our patterns. And as I said, then in the evening class, we're going to be diagramming it. And along with that, I'm going to go down to the second page. This is the image. And Tammy and I picked this out together just recently within the last week. So um, that's why I'm not real organized yet with this, but this is the image. We both went through this book, and this one caught both our eyes. And we're going to talk about today why and what it is in designing that makes a pattern appealing. And a lot of it goes back to what I'd like you to do. If you have a paper and pencil or otherwise in your head, take a look at this. And Tammy and I saw about 3, 4 different things in it. When we looked, we're looking at shapes. Think about shapes. And just take a minute to look at it. Let's see if I can open my screen a little more here. And I would like you to tell me what you see in this design. Just the very first thing that pops into your mind that says, oh, look at that. Strong triangle, yes. With the clovers, yes, yes. That is the focal point of this design. Your eye really goes there first. But then, okay, anything else? What images do you see? Besides shapes, what images does any of it remind you of? Maybe smaller images of something in life. Center diamond, yes. Yes, a house. I didn't see the chimney. Oh, in a flower garden. See, I thought of house, but I didn't think of flowers and flower garden out front. And it does look like a flower garden outside front. Definitely a triangle, then a rectangle in the middle, and they kind of feel like ovals at the bottom. Yep, yep, you're picking out the shapes great. Eyes. I think I'm not seeing eyes. Oh my gosh. Okay, look at this. Onion rings, yes, those look like onion rings. I haven't, Robin, I haven't read through the pattern yet to know for sure if they are, but they look like onion rings. The other thing they could be, from looking at it up close, I'm kind of wondering if it's a ring in the middle with chains on the outside, especially because at this top point, um, it looks, there's an area that looks to me like it could be separate and not an onion ring at the base. So that's going to be interesting to find that out in looking at this pattern. Okay, Tammy's first thing was a Christmas tree. Anybody see that? The chimney, if you turned it on the side, is a row of eyes. Oh, you mean the chimney as the lace up and down on the left. Oh my gosh, it does look like a chimney to the whole house. Wow. Now, right there, that is a new design you could make. I don't think I've seen a house shaped like this. I think I've only seen one other house design. I know Carrie Solomon did one. I think that's adorable, and that's something I think a lot of us would make if you turn this into a house. And didn't even think of the chimney. That's perfect. Pyramids looks like peacocks with tail feathers spread, or dancers. Yeah. Um, I didn't think of peacocks with the tail spread. Yes. Now, dancers was one of the first things I saw, besides the Christmas tree. And Tammy saw that first. You turn the chimney. Yes, it does look too tall. See, this is one of the things art is design is all about, and it really does boil down to the shapes to start with. Peacocks, yes. Oh my gosh, isn't this fun? To me, this is what's so much fun. The exploration and what you find. And now I was laughing a few minutes ago. I'll tell you why. If you look inside, you probably can't see my little cursor X cross here, but if you look inside the three triangles, there is negative space there, and I see something in the negative space that I wonder if anybody else sees. Just look at the three dark black. The negative space doesn't have to be blank or have to be white or anything. It can be any color. It's the area. A happy ghost. Yes. I didn't see the ghost. I saw a pumpkin face, even though it's in a triangle, inside a triangle. But a ghost, yes, that would be a wonderful ghost. And Halloween's coming up. A face, yes, you see faces. Um, so, although we want to try and get this, and we need to practice writing patterns, you need to get that practice. If you're seeing these things you're seeing in there, if you want to start designing that, that is okay. If you don't want to, we'll just talk about how you would design and write this pattern, and we'll get into some of how it's done. But basically, we're looking at the design aspect. But like I said, some of this, Tammy, a little later, once she gets settled and all, is going to be using this pattern in I think that I know the intermediate advanced class and maybe even the beginning. Hi, Harola. No, you're not too late. And if you didn't get the links in the email did not work, so you have to angels holding hands. Yes, Maria. Hi, Maria. This pattern, it you look at it and it's just like a like an edging and a corner piece. But actually, they made, I don't know if you can see in the background, it looks like they've put them along a bunch of them along the edge of a tea towel or something. Deborah, yes, a house. Yep. And somebody pointed out this is looks like the chimney. So all of these are designs that you could design all out of this one. And like a ghost or a pumpkin face, you could because you could easily make that triangle with some a row or two around it to make the round or oval shape for a pumpkin. Any of these would be a great fall project of your own. We're going to, and we will, if you pick a project like this on your own, a design, um, you can do that and we'll still keep using this pattern, but we can do some critiquing if you want. It really helps. When we had the design class for years in the CHATSI, um, people would show their designs and a problem they had, they'd say, oh, I can't quite, don't know what to do about this or that, and all kinds of suggestions from everybody else. And that's one of the things about design. When you're making a design, you it's good to involve a couple of the people that you trust because you want um, critiquing the words. um, you've got the base critique in there, are critical. And people think of it as bad. But in this class and in art, people consider critiquing is good, all positive. Well, what if you use this instead of that? Or what if you change? Hi, I don't think I've ever said your name. I'm not going to try it, I don't think. Tasneem Sadi? Anyway, hello, I'm so glad you're here. I'm still working on figuring out your Phoenix. Oh, yes, your Phoenix. And I was wondering about that. I just happened to see it in my file the other day and look at it. Um, yeah, so if, and I'm going to see if Pam and I can work together this week to get things up on the homework site. Now, if you don't want a new design up there, that's fine. You don't have to show your work. Um, it'd be nice if you show this design in itself, but if you're pulling something out of it that's going to be original, um, you might want to share it just with the class or just with the people that are interested or you would like to see it. And critiquing is helping people with it. And there's always personal preferences. So, what someone else would like isn't necessarily what you would want to do, but the suggestions help and they get you to thinking. And so that's the reason that we do critique in here, but only if you want us to on your work. Um, and we can figure out how to share it so that everybody in the world can't see it when this goes as a replay. It's fine. Royally pronounced. Wow. Okay. Well, I've been so excited this week when we picked this pattern. It seems like we picked it on the weekend, maybe. And I'm so excited, I can hardly keep my focus on anything like what I'm saying in class here right now, because this is such an exciting and, like, I think I've used the word adventure to me, and that's what it is. Exploration, practice, there's another word, inspiration. Anyway, like I said, my focus is a little bit off today. You should see all my doodles. I have no problem sharing it. Oh, that's wonderful. Wonderful. And because then we can see them. And designers, it's like anything else. When you're learning to walk, you fall down before you get it. When you're learning to ride a bike, anything you do when you're learning, and that's what we are. We're learners. Oh, thank you for saying that, Katia. Yes, please the like button. Hi, Pam. Yeah, Pam, if maybe we can get together so we can get I can show you how to get the images up on the site, get the homework going. So back to this design we're working on. and everything will be pulled out of it. So you can just work along on this design or go on your own and start working. Um, let's see. We were talking about shapes. Now I want to show you, and I'm going to have to pull it up. I didn't put it in the list. Hi, Barbara. Oh, I'm so glad you're able to join in. This is the pattern, the vintage pattern that we're going to be working on this fall, and all three classes are going to be involved. We're going to take this Bucilla Blue Book number 3, and we want to get the whole thing rewritten in modern terminology and get diagrams. So the second session of the class tonight will be starting to diagram this center 3 clovers, the little center triangle. All right, let me pull up the page I want to show you. Let's see. I need a new window. You're going to see my new window now. And I will put a link to this on the design homepage so we can see it. I'm just going to go to Pinterest. I'm going to go to me. Now you're going to see in here, if you use Pinterest, you're going to see all kinds. 2020 fall. I open this up. We're going to be looking at this today. I pulled this up out of the, let me see. I'm going to go back a minute. 2020 fall. It's right in the top row. Oh, I should go down and show you too. Under the T's, I got tatted onion rings, tatting red, white, and blue. But I have, vintage pattern books. I have types of rings, but I know I have a lot of, here it is, tatting techniques. I've got, I thought I had a lot more design things in here. Oh, here's tatting designer. Here's tatting designers. There's this board, and there's this board, and this one, and this one. They're all different. This one, I don't want to find ideas. Is that the only, I guess that's the only one on that page. I don't always keep up. Here's a tatted bunnies one. So anyway, but we're going to look at this top and middle one, the 2020 fall tatting. This is one of the things we're going to talk a little bit about today is the principles of design. I've said many times, the elements and principles of design are, they're guidelines that I never use the word all, but almost all designers in any field use as a base. And for tatting, what it does is, if you're having a trouble spot and you just don't like your pattern, something's not right, and you don't know what, by looking at these, you can sometimes figure out, does the pattern need an emphasis spot or a focal point? Does it need more variety? Maybe it needs less, so it'll have more unity and balance. So all of these are involved and really can help with your designing and troubleshooting. Let's start out with having you look at this one right here. Okay, this is our elements and principles. The elements are on the left. When we're talking about design elements, and we'll also talk about, you'll hear me talk about the tatting elements, which are all your basic elements, like your ring and your chain. And a clover is a basic common form or formation. That's the word I need. Formation. And so, like, a clover is not copyrighted. Some of those that have been around for years, nobody owns the copyright on that. Okay. So sorry about that, lost my train. Anyway, these are the elements, and they're line, shape, size, space, and just a few minutes ago we talked about negative space. And negative space can really be an emphasis because if you have negative spaces, like on a doily and they go in a circle, you see that circle line of the negative spaces. Our brains recognize common shapes and relate them to what we've already learned about them. Space is more of space is area around something, but has more to do with 3D design. So we won't be talking about space really. Color, I used to do color a lot, but really, it really is a whole different topic. And so we may touch on it a bit as far as using color in your designs for a class or two. Texture and value. All of these are elements that are in tatting. And we looked at shapes today and the size. Remember, the first thing you noticed was the triangle of the three clovers in the middle, like a focal point. It drew your eye. And that was, those elements were larger than all the elements surrounding it. They were a smaller scale. And that's how it created the focal point is by the size. And the size of it, you go over to the right side. Now, the principles are what you use to manipulate these. Okay, so we could manipulate the size by the principles: balance, contrast, emphasis, that's like the focal point, proportion, pattern, and gradients. Now the gradients is really goes along more with the color. So talking about proportion, they've got that bigger tatted elements in the center, the clover, and then smaller tatted elements, but more of them around the clovers. And even that balances each other. The smaller amount of large and the larger amount of small creates a unsymmetrical balance, asymmetrical balance, because it's not two matching things, it's two different things that create a balance together. And I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, we'll be talking about it more. It's just that a larger thing can dominate, like the focal point, and sometimes for like if you've got something big and heavy, say you've got 10 pounds on one side, to get 10 pounds of smaller items, you have to put in a lot more of them to fill the space to get up to. And so that's what, and here I am talking with my hands, and you can't see me right now. So these are the elements of principles that we will be talking about all through the classes. So I'm going to close that, and that's on my Pinterest. I'll put a link to my Pinterest page on the design page. So we'll go back to the vintage pattern. So now that you've seen a lot of the shapes and everything, here you can see how the larger it dominates, but actually in size, it's smaller compared to all of this bottom part, the roof line and the chimney. And there's a lot of those that balance out the top, and it works. Will the Pinterest address be on the design? Yes, I'm going to, hi Susan, I'm going to put it on there. Gotcha. Oh, sorry you had to leave, Kaylin. You're probably gone by now. It's hard to keep up with what I'm talking about and keep this chat box, keep looking at it. Yes, I'll definitely put that on there. And I'm going to see if I can rename them to get them. Maybe I can get the design classes at the top of my boards. If I name, or all together, if I name them all with the same starting letter. So what you're going to do for this week is, I'm going to mention the homework now. Um, read the instructions for just this triangle. And then I want you to tat it. It probably would be very nice for pattern writing practice if you write it in one of the new notations. And we're going to use that page, like I said, that the beginning class is using, and I will put that link on our design page too. Excuse me just for a moment, I'm thinking. Oh my gosh. Okay, so now another thing we're going to do, the other document that you have to print out is actually, it doesn't have the instructions, just it has, let me see if this is it. This is it. Okay, the other document I have is actually a page that has 3 of these on it. Okay, and I will now show you the reason for that. Hello again. Okay, I haven't done it yet. And I had printed out, and then I realized I printed out 3 of them and then thought, I can put them all on one page for you guys to print out one page. But what we're going to do is I want you to, on one of these images, I want you to start outlining those shapes. And I don't care if you use a pen or anything like that, but let me see. I am going to just quickly, if you've got a pencil, you can do this. I don't know if my purple's going to show up. I'm going to scribble on this to get it show up. What we saw, first of all the basic shapes. And can you see how I have, you see my little triangle of the house outlined in purple pen? It's kind of dark. But do that with one of them. Find all the basic shapes that you can in there. And by basic shapes, it's rectangles, squares, circles and ovals. Triangles are really common in here. And any other common shapes you see. And on the right of your paper, write down all those ideas that everybody's mentioned in class. So you can look for them too. And that's the first thing I want you to do. Now on the other 2, I actually want you to take your, where did I just set them? Oh, here they are. Take your scissors. I'm going to turn it this way so I can cut. And I'm actually going to cut this out. You've got more than one of these because if you cut out one shape, you might miss another. Like if I cut out the center triangle, I guess I can cut and still get the outer edge on it too. So I have a triangle of it. And we're going to use all of these as puzzle pieces. We're going to pull out each shape and see if we can make something different out of them. Quite a few years ago, I went to a Palmetto's Tatting Guild convention, and I met Reet. I can't think of her last name. I think it's Riet or Reit. She was called the Bee Angel, and she told me, and done a lot of designing. Yes, please hit the like button. Let me see. Where am I with field? Oh, does the pattern start at motif, wine shuttle, and end with this forms three? Do you know, I haven't read through the pattern yet, Lisa. That is something I don't know yet, where it actually starts. Um, we can discuss that next week, but see if you can find the start. Well, read at least the first paragraph or two of the pattern. And if you can decipher it, that's wonderful. Um, because, yeah, I asked you to tat the clover, but I don't know. It's up to you. You know, designing is a lot of things that are, you have to make choices. And my choice might not necessarily be your choice. So I don't know that question this week, Lisa, but we will find out. So now I'm cutting these out. I'm going to go back to my cutting unless there's another question. Let me know if I didn't quite answer your question. Um, so now I have this. It's not right in front of me. I don't know why. There we go. I have this shape and the triangle shape, and I can maybe put them together in different ways to make something totally different. This is a wonderful way to practice some designing. You can even use, I didn't finish cutting this one out. You can even use the other side so you don't see what patterns on it. Just play with these. That's what Reet said. She goes to she said she went to a creativity class every summer for a couple of weeks. She would go to this class that was offered. And one of the things they had to do was they were given these big letter shapes that were all cut out, like maybe, you know, a capital E, a capital T, a capital L. And they had to sit down on the floor, each of them, and lay those out in a design pattern. And that's just all practice in designing and working with shapes. And she actually took a class for it. So this is what we're going to be doing with all our pieces. Now, if you get something you like, the shape of, or it reminds you of something, trace around them on a sheet of paper. And then you can scan them and print them out and use them for your designing. And I'd love to see homework that shows something you've done once you, like this one, I didn't cut off right close. So I'm going to have to pull it out closer. I'm not used to using this screen without the camera for showing things. All right, so that's what we're going to be working on, and for your homework. Now, I want to talk more about this shape. Oops. Yeah, I'm gonna use this right there. Okay. And see if I can move this thing out of the way. Well, might be there. Well, I'm going to talk about this top part first. Notice we were talking about negative space right in here that makes a face. I would love to see that as a ghost. Finish it on down. Um, that's all I can see when I open it now. Notice how the negative space between the tatted elements really highlights the triangle. And you probably noticed that just the split rings in a row highlight. I mean, your eye catches those as much, to me, almost more than it catches the tatted stitches around. You're seeing those spaces. So we have to think about negative space. And I know, I said 3D. It's form. And it's not even on that little elements and principles chart form. That's the one you'll often see in a list of design elements, but we're not using that in tatting. And the um, image I showed you, that the round one with the elements and principles, I don't think that had form on it either. And so when you look at a pattern, oh, well, I guess the first thing is, a pattern, if a person likes a pattern or not, um, is personal preference. A Christmas tree, yes, Harola, that's the first thing that Tammy saw, and I think it was the second thing I saw. Definitely a Christmas tree, and I think that may be one of the things she uses in the intermediate advanced class, doing something with that. Um, Possibly, I'm not sure. I know she's going to use some elements in this pattern. Like I said, once she has a chance to get settled and work on some very new things for the classes. And so now I lost my place again. Spaces. And notice how your lines, I mean, your brain, we start recognizing shapes of things right from the time we're born. You're looking as a newborn, and the first time you open your eyes and see some, it's like that round or oval shape of a parent, and you get to, through your beginning years, associate that shape with a face. Like if you just draw an oval on a blank piece of paper and ask somebody, what do you see? Or fill it in, a lot of people would make a face out of it because we learn to recognize these very early. And unless you're an artist, though, you don't really think about this much or realize how much it's related to everything else in the world. Shapes are what everything is made out of. And that's why we're seeing this house shape, because we know what a house shape knows. And we've known it since we were probably toddlers and started walking outside our home or coming home to our home in the car. So, is there anything, what does anybody see that they particularly like about this design? Or don't like, if there's something you don't like about it. We want to think about what we don't like as much as what we do like. And you have to remember too that even in your own designs, you may have to have something in there that you don't particularly like, but it's the right thing to work for the entire pattern. And whenever you start, something doesn't work out, you're going to start over with a piece of tatting. Keep that tatting. Um, I'm using some of mine now I'm going to put I'm going to put this piece that I did on one of those index cards when my binder comes, or my little index card ring binder comes, and I'm going to write down what size thread, how many stitches in the chains, and how many stitches in the rings. So this I'll have on a card, an index card, and on the front I will write beside it the numbers. And then on the back, this doesn't happen to be an index card. It doesn't have any lines on the back. I could write something about it. If you had a problem with an area or maybe why you stopped using it, this may be the perfect thing you need to put inside. I guess done this way, it looks like a tree, doesn't it? It's got a trunk and the tree leaves above. Maybe it looks like a daisy, I guess, with a stem, but it could even be the representation for a tree. And I'm going to use this for one of my samples so when I'm tatting another design, I can say, oh, this piece, look at that. There's how many stitches in this size thread on that chain down there, and it's out of size, I think this is size 10 thread. So that's how you're going to start your sample book. It doesn't, I know I've always before, and I know traditionally it's do a ring, do a long strip or individual rings in different sizes and just put in your book to use. But if you've already got something, use that. Besides, it's fun and colorful to look at. And one look at it may give you an idea for something new. Are there any questions? Palm tree, that's it, Angela. Looks like the little, I think that says palm tree. That brown lined up perfect with the trunk. Yes. See, in this, I hope you enjoy this because to me, this is what's so exciting about design. And there's so many possibilities. And if you do things that aren't super common out there, like, I mean, there's tons of snowflakes. And although they're fun to design and look at, if you want to, if especially if you want to sell patterns, doing something a little different and that's in your style. And as you design, you probably have a style about what you like, things you like in tatting. That's why I was asking about the PDF. Oh, I didn't. I got it. I got to display my desktop for you. Go back to that. About what you like and dislike about it. Think about using the things you like in another pattern. I don't know what I want to finish up with today because really today for this class, I'd like you to start on this and pieces of this. And I think the pattern calls for a size 10 thread. You might want to try it out of 20. And then you can see the like or even just the inner triangle and the outer triangle out of I'm not sure. I think this is a separate, this little piece below this straight piece that looks like somebody holding hands to me. I guess a child and a parent up and down. Um, do this piece and then this piece. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, they are connected. The roof is connected. I'm going to have to talk about this as if it is a house. The roof is connected to right here and over here on the same side. I think oh, here's another connection way up at the top. So if you do the centerpiece and this, try it out of both sizes, 10 and 20 thread, and then you can see the difference between the same pattern, how it works up in the two different sizes of thread. I think to me that's can be a big help sometimes when you're trying to decide, do you want to design your pattern out of size 10 or 20? The other thing when you're designing a pattern, you want to think about is function. What's it going to be used for? If you're putting it on a towel, you might go with a size 10 because it's heavier. It wouldn't get lost on, like, say, a terry cloth towel. If it's on a tea towel, you might want it in size 20 to go with the finer weave of the tea cloth. And I think, let's see, we're 5-2. Let's take any more questions about upcoming or about what we've talked about today, or are you excited about this particular project using this? And I think as I go, I am going to make these in individual pieces myself, and you might too. And then this side to side piece, and these girls dancing or peacocks along the bottom, whatever you see. Um, I probably will tap one of those and then maybe a line of them. And then I have my tatted pieces to use to design something else with. Once they're tatted, you'll see a different look. And the most interesting thing is you'll really see, it'll really look different when we're able to look at the diagrams, which we'll start tonight. Struggling on your style and what item I can design that hasn't been, yeah, designing that hasn't been done before, that is difficult. So it is a really important to get your own style and would be of value. Thank you for saying that. That's another thing. Um, Are you going to do it? Is it a, well, I mentioned function. Is it a decorative piece? Is it a useful piece that's going to be washed a lot? Um, your style. The style, we'll talk some about that as we go. Your style develops as you work in design. And as you think about what do you really like? What style is it? This one really, like the shape of the house is a geometric shape, but there's a lot of, organic type shapes in the center here, like the peacock feathers or the skirt on the dancing girls or whatever. And you will, the more you design, your evening class is in the middle. Oh, I'm sorry, 3 a.m. Well, I'm glad you'll be able to see the replay. You like the peacocks, yes. People love peacocks, and I think there's only that I know of 2 peacock patterns out there. So what I would do is do an internet search. I would find, or if you use uh, Pinterest, that's a great place because people have tatting all on one board, and you look at different people's boards um, and see what's out there. And usually, what I will do is save that picture in a file. I will make sure I have the designer's name on it, so and where I found it. So when I go back to look for it, I'll know um, where it originated from and who designed it. And I also will often print those out to keep for my inspiration section of my design book, which I do use a big for design. I use a big um, regular 8.5 by 11 binder. So that's what you do first, to research what patterns have already been done. And the other thing you can do is ask in our Facebook group, you know, tell them, does anybody know what patterns do you like that are peacocks, or have you seen any peacock patterns? And that's a great way to research. It's really hard nowadays because there's no way to know everything. It's not like when we just only had printed books to look for. Now we have to check the web too. And there's so much out there that there's no way you can know everything. But especially on the design, it's good when you are partway through it at least to check with some experienced tatters. Doesn't have to necessarily be designers, but tatters, and ask them if it reminds them of another pattern. If it reminds you of something else, it may be that your pattern cannot be considered original and has to be a variation. Did a quick search on Pinterest. There are loads of tatted peacocks. Oh my gosh, I'll have to do that too. Sometimes if I'm going to do a design, I'll start my own Pinterest board just for all the peacocks that are already tatted. I will also find pictures I like of live peacocks on the web. I will find pictures and keep those all together. And remember, when you put anything in Pinterest, I do not put anything on Pinterest that doesn't have not another Pinterest address to find it. I go find, and it takes time, I track down the original designer of the pattern. And if they have a website or anything online, I give that address along with it. It should be with your Pinterest file. There's too many people using Pinterest just to copy other people's um, patterns and things. And we want to, as designers, we want to really, and in all our classes for the online tanning classes, follow copyright laws. Now, some countries don't even have them. Some countries, their copyright, if they have it, doesn't jive with the copyright here. And so, and sometimes they use an excuse for copying a American designs made by an American designer because they say, well, we don't have copyright here. So that's a whole nother wax. And we want to, that's why I emphasize um, trying different things. Like in this pattern, if you happen to like, here I am talking a few more minutes. if you happen to like this strip right here in the center, notice it's got all these chains down here. What if you just took part of one of these and you made this part here or something here, put Josephine chains or rings in place of it. That would look totally different. A ring, a Josephine ring, those aren't copyrighted. But now the way, like this, having the onion ring looking one and the chain down, the little ring and the chain down, the big ring, overall, this could be a copyright pattern, this strip. So that's it for today, and I hope you enjoyed it. I look forward to seeing those of you who are coming to the class tonight where we'll start diagramming this center clover. So have a good week, have a good day, and I will see you next week or tonight. Bye-bye.